back to the Gary Sutton Show on WSBA, hour number 2, and so much happening in the world right now. But one of the things that we wanted to talk about today, and we're trying to get her on the line right now, is with Heather Parisi, who is the founder of Flip to Be Fit, and she has a very interesting story to tell. And I was reading an article yesterday. We're going to be spending time tomorrow on can we fix the fragmentation of the American family? And everyone has ideas. We kick it around, but we don't seem to really do anything about it. I'm not sure we, as a group of people, could order people to do something about it. I don't think that's the case. But, you know, as far as getting the family back together again, we operate in a lightning-fast society today. And so how do we get back to, for example, family meals? Or even a family game night, a family night of just sitting around doing games. And maybe we're hearkening back to another era. I don't know. But Heather has come up with a game and the idea of a family game night. She's the founder of Flip to Be Fit. But her life story is interesting on how she came to that point. And she joins us this morning here on the Gary Sutton Show. Heather, it's an honor to have you with us. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. I've been reading kind of your journal here a little bit on your website at fliptobefit.com and reading about when you were in, I believe, South Africa or in Africa, writing some of this down. But tell us a little bit about who you are and where, I guess Uganda is where you were at when you were writing this particular one. Tell us about where you were as a girl at one point in time and now working your way back up and coming up with Flip to Be Fit.
I was a gymnast as a child.
Right.
And fitness was always part of my life. It was just kind of my normal day-to-day routine. It's what I knew. I had an accident when I was 12 years old that left me with a discrepancy in my legs. And I spent 18 years being bullied, being teased, not fitting in, not kind of knowing what to do. And fitness was the only thing that ever made me feel normal. I still managed to dive. I still managed to turn to different things that just I found myself feeling as though I fit in with people. And as time went on in my life, I just realized that lifestyle for me let me have a healthy life, and it let me overcome feeling like a misfit or feeling like I didn't fit in. And after getting my leg fixed through many surgeries, I was just looking around at my life, looking around at the world, and realizing that there were a lot of people that were becoming overweight and obese and just didn't understand the concept of something so simple as moving your body. Not going to a gym, not getting a trainer, not stressing yourself out, not having to be a master athlete, but just simply getting up and trying something. And I created some cards that I used for myself that I would flip a deck and just perform some different exercises. They were in the yoga, cardio, stretching, and strength categories with no equipment ever needed. Just getting myself up, flipping cards, doing different exercises. And I realized that by switching it up and doing these different exercises, I was really staying healthy, and I wanted to share that with people. So I started playing those cards with my niece and nephew, and of course they got completely bored because it was just cards. There was absolutely no goal. There was absolutely no reward. There was absolutely no reason to get up and do it. Why were kids going to get up and do it? They weren't. So my nephew and I and my niece started talking, and we realized, what if we make this a board game? So I actually took the 4 categories of yoga, cardio, stretching, and strength. I created cards that you flip over with exercises on them, and I created a board game that you have to move around to get to a center and have a winner. So now there was a goal. Now there was a reason to flip over this card and do this exercise. It wound up developing into something that I realized I could include some simple basics about nutrition, because people talk about a saturated fat or a fruit and a portion of fruit or one serving of a vegetable.
Right.
But who really knows what that is? How many people know? How many blueberries or strawberries or what size apple is considered one quote-unquote serving? So I created fact and fiction cards with some really basic concepts of nutrition so that as a young mind, when a child's playing this game with their mom and dad or a teacher, they start to have some knowledge of what's a serving of fruit or what's an unsaturated fat or what's the antioxidants, and start to get some big words in their head. And I realized that when people started playing this game, they forgot that they were exercising. Their only goal was to win, because people love to win games.
I've often said if you wanted to take your husband shopping or your boyfriend shopping to the mall and they don't really want to go, find yourself a shooting gallery between each store and make a circuit and keep a score at the end and have a winner, and they'll go every time. Or else, if you like golf, have a putting green between every store and you have a score at the end. So I think it's genius to put this out here, because something you might not normally do, you now be willing to do. And we all remember kind of the fun of board games, and we all remember winning. My brother was, when I used to play with him, he wanted to win at everything. I mean, he was just, and a lot of people are like that. They're competitive by nature.
Yeah, it's human nature to want to compete and win, I've actually found that with some of the activities that are group play, you watch the kids who are really good at things helping the other kids or helping their mom and dad, because if the whole group doesn't finish it, no one's going to go forward on the game board. Mm-hmm. So you actually watch people supporting each other, and then the kids crack up and laugh when they watch mom and dad, doing jumping jacks, doing sit-ups, running in place, or trying something new, because now it becomes funny. Mom and dad haven't touched their toes in years, and all of a sudden they're getting to see them try. And it becomes a real family engagement, and it really gets people together again. I've had some people make it family game night in their neighborhoods where they have 3 or 4 families come over. And they play family against family for the different locations on the game. I thought it was really appropriate to have you on today, because this week, by every year when we have a brand new year, this is the week that everybody joins a new gym or something like that. And then by, I say, a month into it or 2 months into it, 50% of the people stop doing what they're doing and they lapse. And so I think it's important for people to look at their health and their fitness and those kinds of things and say, you don't have to necessarily join something. If you want to join it, it's nice, and you want to use it, that's nice. I do that myself. But by the same token, there are other things that you can do, and sometimes you can even make it fun, because it does become drudgery sometimes for people who haven't maybe made that a habit in their lives. Sometimes even if you have made it a habit, it becomes a routine, but not one that you necessarily always enjoy. So here you're adding the element of fun to it as well. How do you play this game, Heather? How do you actually sit down and play this game? It's just like playing Monopoly or Sorry or Clue. You literally open up the box, you set up the game board by unfolding it, you each take a game pawn and you put it on the color location. Then there's a spinner that spins, and it'll land on yoga, cardio, stretching, or strength. Once you figure out which category it lands on, you take that particular card from that deck and you flip it over and you look at what the exercise tells you to do. Perform that exercise either as an individual, a group, or a competition. And then once the exercise is completed, either the individual, the group, or whoever wins the competition will move forward on the game board. Sporadically placed throughout the decks, you'll find that there are pick it or pass it cards, which are strategy cards. It's going to be, the concept is, before you turn it over, you have to decide, am I going to keep it for myself or pass it to someone? And kids love this card, because when they flip it over, it's either going to be a healthy choice card, which shows pictures of healthy foods, and my main character is named Springer. He's a really funny-looking, happy dinosaur. And on the healthy cards, he's all vibrant and colorful, and it's all fruits and vegetables and everything you want to eat. And that's going to put you forward 3 spaces just because you made a healthy choice. If you get the bad food choices, my poor Springer character all of a sudden gets black and gray and really decrepit looking. He looks sick. He looks tired. He looks weak, because he's been eating chili dogs and too many greasy French fries, and lots of donuts and cookies and ice cream and all the stuff that we shouldn't eat every day, that we should learn to eat only in moderation. And if you give that card to somebody, they're going to go backwards on the board now. And kids love to see the adults go backward, because all of a sudden they moved ahead and they just pushed you back for no reason whatsoever. And then also sporadically placed in are fact-fiction cards that I mentioned before that teach about health. So when you flip that over, you have the choice to ask anyone playing the game this fact or fiction question. If they get it right, they go forward. If they get it wrong, they go backward. And what ends up happening after families play this game over and over is naturally you start developing a healthy life, just because you start remembering some facts about nutrition. You start realizing, gee, if I eat a little bit more fruit or vegetables, I'm going to be like that really nice-looking dinosaur. And kids love that. They want to aspire to be like the things they see. And when they see mom and dad playing the games with them, they aspire to be like mom and dad now, because now mom and dad are involved in it with them. We're talking with Heather Parisi, the founder of Flip to Be Fit. It sounds like a fascinating game. And, I'm sitting here thinking, didn't have to have the government do anything to tell you to do this. It's a way of doing it on your own with the family or friends. I could see a really neat, not just family night, but get-together night with other people and say, okay, let's play this game. And I could see it really being a neat time. It does. It works great for that. It works great in schools. I've had camps using it for rainy days. I have schools using it during recess when it's too cold to go outside. I have teachers using it to go between subjects so that they get the kids up and moving, because it's actually been proven that a smarter kid is going to move more. So instead of just making the kids go from math to English to science, some of the elementary school teachers now are flipping over some cards and having the kids do a few jumping jacks, run in place, and touch their toes before they switch subjects, just to get them moving again. It's actually just watching kids laugh and giggle and have fun in between their subjects.
I can see this. I coach a basketball team called Team Pennsylvania. It's an AAU basketball team. We play about 42 games in the spring and summer, and we have to go overnight to a lot of different places and stay in hotels and so forth. And I'm thinking, man, here's a game. These kids will probably get more joy out of seeing me do jumping jacks and toe touching and stuff than I would getting to see them do it. But, yeah, I mean, it sounds like something that just lends itself to a whole lot of situations. You know, from a serious standpoint, Heather, I'm going through a life change. Today is day 100, and I've lost 74 pounds as of today.
I did see that when I looked things up. Congratulations.
Yeah, my wife has lost 31, and we've, you talked about knowing the amounts of things you eat. I actually do know the amounts of the things that I eat now. And I know, for example, that 12 nuts unsalted equals 1 fat. And those are the kind of things that I'm aware of now. But, it occurs to me as people get ready here in the new year and are trying to get in shape and have their resolutions and all those things, that you really have to somehow become consistently aware of what you're doing and what you're putting in yourself and the kind of exercise you're doing and so forth. And so many people rush out and start to kind of dive in head first and go full bore and either hurt themselves or find out they're going to burn out very quickly. What kind of advice do you give to people in those kinds of situations?
My best advice is to just trust yourself and know that you have the right to live a healthy life, but it doesn't have to happen overnight. It's a process. It's something you have to wake up every day and say, today I'm going to go one step further, or today I'm going to do one sit-up more. It's not a matter of being the best at the gym or getting the best trainer.
Exactly.
It's just a matter of telling yourself, today I'm going to get up. I'm going to go one more step. I'm going to do one more jumping jack. I'm going to eat one more piece of fruit and drink one less can of soda. And treat every day as its own day. Don't project yourself too far forward, because you can only live within each moment, and you have to take each moment within itself to get through it, and that will give you those little successes to continuously build on, because we all need to feel like we're doing something successful. So if we build on each success of, I drank one more glass of water today, you can feel proud of yourself and not weighted down that you didn't accomplish something. So set your goals that are manageable in the beginning. Look at each day for what it's worth, and only try to live within that day and do one little thing. That's why when people play this game, if they get through the game for the 30 minutes or 35 minutes it takes to play, they've done some exercises without knowing it. Or just say, I'm going to open up the box and I'm going to do 2 cards today, and that's it. If it's 2 cards more than you did yesterday, it's a success, and people need to feel successes.
Heather, we're going to take a quick break. I want to come back and talk to you more about goal setting, short-term goal setting, and long-term goal setting. Heather Parisi is the founder of Flip to Be Fit. Fascinating interview. We'll come back and talk a little bit more with her right after this on News Radio 910 WSBA. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show on WSBA. Heather Parisi is the founder of Flip to Be Fit, and the perfect person to be here on the opening week of the new year, as she's put together a game that brings back family game night and stay in shape, too. One of my concerns for a long time, Heather, has been when I walk around and all I see is the tops of kids' heads, because their heads are down, buried in some kind of game somewhere, or the fact that kids are in the house sitting down playing games instead of being outside doing something and playing games. I remember never really coming inside till we were forced to for dinner, and you could hear your mother scream somewhere through the neighborhood. So this is an idea also, the Flip to Be Fit, of getting kids back and getting them back and doing something, first of all, together with the family, but also the idea of getting them fit along the way without really knowing it.
Absolutely. And what's so interesting is one of the things that really stood out to me is, unfortunately, during Hurricane Sandy or during any of the natural disasters that occur when power is lost, and people don't have the technology or they can't go to work and do the things they were normally doing, I've actually seen families revert to what do we have in the closet, what games are up there, and you watch people start to laugh again and get along again and interact in ways that they just haven't been interacting because everybody's in their own little bubble of a world in their handheld technologies, even the youngest of kids that play on their mom and dad's phones or other gadgets. And that's definitely one of the things that I've paid a lot of attention to and why I created a board game that revolves around moving your body. Because if you just get people to remember how much fun it was to play a game and they open up this box, now instead of just sitting around the table, they're actually doing something that's going to help them live a healthier lifestyle in the future.
How long does it take to play the game? Is there kind of an average time at all?
Yeah, if you really play it seriously, it's about a 30 to 35-minute game.
Okay.
If there's too much laughing, giggling, or if you veer off into some of the things when you're watching mom and dad try something or something like that, it could take 45 minutes or 50 minutes. But it's definitely under an hour to complete the whole game, and usually between 30 and 40 minutes.
So build in 20 minutes of laugh time, right?
Yeah, you definitely
I understand.
can. Absolutely.
You said something before the break, and I thought it was so simple, and we hear it often, but I'm not sure it ever really soaks in. It was the idea of setting short-term goals. I know one of the things that I've done, I want to lose 130 more pounds yet. And if I looked at that and I thought about that every day, that would be a little bit daunting. But what I found myself doing, number one, is getting a whole lot of discipline back that I thought I had lost. But number two, I set my goals only in 20-pound increments for 30 days. For every 30 days, I expect to lose 20 pounds. Now, whether or not I do that remains to be seen. But I won't do it because I have broken anything. I'll continue to do all the right things, but it will come off, naturally. So the idea of setting short-term goals, whether it's a month, whether it's a day, whether it's a week, is really, really important, I think, for the psyche of people so that they won't walk away from resolutions, but rather will continue to keep them and build them as a habit.
Absolutely. I can even speak to myself. I've never been a runner, and this particular year I have set a goal for myself long-term by the end of 2015 to run a 10K,
wow,
which is 6.2 miles.
Mm-hmm.
But I set myself short-term goals each time I run outside or I get on a treadmill. I don't pretend or think I'm going to all of a sudden get on a treadmill and run 10 miles today.
Right.
It's not me. I'm an athlete. I'm a fitness person. I'm in good shape, but I've never been a runner. So I wanted to take on something for myself to continuously prove that I live and breathe what I create, what I produce, what I preach to everybody by continuously challenging myself. So I set very small goals. The first day, I literally just told myself, put your sneakers on, go outside, and run down the block.
There you go.
That was it. As long as I ran down the block, I ran. For the first time, I ran outside. And I accomplished it. And I was like, okay, that wasn't so bad. I got over my fear because I had that built-in fear of the unknown. I've never done it. What's it going to feel like? Is anyone going to look at me? Are they going to look at me funny? There's a built-in fear of doing something like that. And when you set really small goals and make an accomplishment, that little bit of success gives you like an endorphin that makes you say, oh, I could do more. I can accomplish more the next time. I'm sure it's the same way with your weight goals. As you accomplish them, you feel pride. You feel proud, and endorphin goes through you, and you get energized that I did that. I can keep going now, and you get motivated. That's where that all comes in with those short-term goals instead of being overwhelmed by, oh, my God, how am I going to do a 10K?
And one of the things that has worked for me, and I'd be interested in knowing your opinion on this, and I've talked to other people it's worked as well, is the idea of writing it down somewhere, either keeping a journal. I saw you writing in a journal here, a picture of you writing a journal on your webpage, of writing it down. And for some reason, when we write it down, we kind of are holding ourselves accountable, I guess.
That's the exact word I was going to use, accountability.
And that it seems to really work because you look back and you say, okay, like I knew today was day 100 because I write down every day in my book. And then I sit down and I write down what I ate this morning for breakfast. And I look at that and I say, okay, now here's what, and it also helps you to plan a little bit. Here's what the rest of my day is going to look like.
It's very true. There's something to be said about the accountability, and it's not just with the successes. I think it helps me more with my failures when I can go back and read that I was accountable for the fact that, you know what, I didn't accomplish it that day, but why? And I wrote down why. Then I can remember, okay, so I really had a rough day at work. How did it affect me? What can I do different to make that not affect me the same way in the future? And it allows you to just accept the fact that we're all human. We're going to stumble. Some days are going to be better than others, but it's a process. It's a journey, and it's creating a new lifestyle, and you have to forgive yourself and allow yourself to get there day by day.
So we got a lot of people sitting out there saying, okay, now, Heather, we want to play this game. And this sounds like kind of, it could be some fun. I might have a few problems with the jumping jacks. In some cases, I haven't seen my feet for a number of years. But tell us where they can get the game and how they get started with it.
You can get it at Amazon.com or at fliptobefit.com, which is www.flip, the number 2, the letter B, and the word fit.com, either place. And it's $34.95 for the board game. And then there's a sister game, which I'll mention briefly, which is called Bokari, which is the memory version of this, where you're flipping over cards, match exercises now, and every time you get a matched exercise, perform it, do it successfully, and win points. And you can do that against the clock, or you can play against someone else to see who gets the most points. I
would flunk that one right away. You said math, right? Yeah, it'd be a tough one for me. But the other one sounds like I might be able to handle that. Heather, great idea. And thank you so much for giving us some wonderful ideas here, especially in this first week when so many people want to get right back into shape and start watching what they're eating.
It was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for having me on, and I wish you a very healthy and happy New Year.
And I wish you very best of luck with your game, and thank you so much for spreading a really good idea. Take care and have a happy New Year.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Heather Parisi with us on the Gary Sutton Show. Flip2befit.com. F-L-I-P, the number 2, B-F-I-T.com. Flip2befit.com. It sounds fascinating to me. Maybe we can get board games going again and have a little family game night. What do you think?